Mosquito! 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 Wrestling! It's almost Wow! What's up, everybody? I'm Kev Kelm coming to you from the NBC Tower in downtown Chicago. That is Nick Hartson over on the West Coast in Sacktown, Sacramento, California. So much to discuss today. We're talking King of the Ring. All hail King General Gunther. Is he the Ring King General? If you don't like Nia Jax, don't worry. She'll sit on you and squash your head like a bug. All right, so we'll talk about that. We have a huge return in All Elite Wrestling. We have some big changes to one of the biggest shows of the year. There is somebody who's not returning to AEW and is saying it publicly. So we'll talk about those things. We'll discuss them. If you are watching live, hit the like button. All right. These are not limited. These thumbs you have that you press those buttons, they're not limited, and they legitimately help us out. Get in the comments below, especially if it's your first time. We want to hear from you. Shout out where you're watching from. Happy Memorial Day. Happy Memorial Day to all the military families across the United States and beyond. I hope you guys are having a great holiday, enjoying the Monday off. I'm going to be on air. What's going on, Victor Shiflick? Hey, Brock, how are you? So I want to get into it here. Interact with this guy, share the views, all that good stuff. It really genuinely helps the show. So let's get into it. Want to know what your thoughts of WWE King and Queen of the Ring. I would put Queen on there, but the graphic would phase out. We wouldn't be able to fit all the text in there. So did you guys like it? Hit the like button. What did you think of the show? I thought this was a strong show. I don't think WWE's had a dud of a premium live event in quite some time. This is another example of something very special. Those international crowds are quite hot, aren't they, Nick?
Oh, yeah. And I thought that Saudi did a great job this time around being interactive, being loud, having a lot of loud pops for certain moments. I really enjoyed the PLE. It was early for me on Saturday out here on the West Coast, but I love waking up to wrestling, so this worked out perfect for me.
Elvis says he's watching from Earth. Well, that's good.
Nice.
Anyone in the interplanetary star system, let us know. Give us your 1 to 10 rating on WWE King and Queen of the Ring. We'll talk about AEW Double or Nothing in the show as well, but we'll keep it here on the King and Queen of the Ring. Strong show overall. Nia Jax defeats Lyra Valkyrie. She's the Queen of the Ring. They made that feel like a big deal. Obviously, there was some late breaking news, and we will talk about who had a better pay-per-view. That conversation always comes up. Yeah. Shout out Pennsylvania. Wawa or Sheets? Wawa or Sheets, Victor? I always want to know. I want to hear from that. Lynn saying it was a 7 out of 10. It was a good show. Nia Jax is champion. Triple H adding this to the fold here in a Q&A in Saudi Arabia the day before. The winner of the King and Queen of the Ring will challenge for the title on their respective brands. This means Gunther now also won the King of the Ring. We'll talk about the matches, and Nia will get shots at people. So Nia will get a shot at the Women's World Championship, and Gunther will get a shot at the World Heavyweight Championship. Certainly seems to make sense with, Raw going to Netflix. They want to keep things interesting there. And people saying Sheets. All right, good to hear that. It's interesting here. People saying she's the real queen. Snap saying, big deal. All for her to lose to Charlotte Flair. Lol. What is the deal if anyone loses to Charlotte Flair? Like, it's the biggest emotion in the world. I mean, the hatred of Charlotte Flair is unreasonable. So what did you think of the King and Queen of the Ring? Interesting choices. I thought Lyra Valkyrie had a very interesting match. It was short, but that ending was wild. Lyra Valkyrie is much smaller than Nia Jax, and she got sat on and pinned, and that was a brutal finish.
I'm wondering if something happened backstage because, do you remember that Yokozuna moment where he was facing a jobber and the jobber talked crap about Mr. Fuji backstage? Boom! Let it all happen. I don't know.
There's a way to do that finish and hurt somebody, and there's a way to do that finish and make it look like you're hurting somebody, and you're not.
True.
And there's been a lot of debate about Nia Jax hurting other women she performs in the ring with. And I've heard that before, and I'm not denying that. But you cannot deny that. That was a brutal-looking finish. Like Lyra was trying to, as Nia Jax is climbing the top rope, Lyra's, all right, you're the bigger wrestler, I can't get you up, but if you put yourself up on the top rope, I'm going to try and launch you off of it and take advantage, right? So tell a story with your body. And I'm the smaller wrestler. I'm going to use you making a mistake to powerbomb you, and this other person kind of lures you in and says, look what position I put you in. And beats her up. Nia's the heel. She needs it more. She's crowned. She gets a shot here at Liv Morgan. It is a heel scenario, though. It's a long time before we get to SummerSlam. That's coming up here in about 2 months. And this kind of makes a different scenario. Let's talk about the men's match here. Lyra Valkyria. Yeah, I'm always doing that. I interviewed her at WrestleMania weekend. I should know better. I'm sorry.
We're fine. We're fine. We're rolling. It's a long weekend.
It's a long weekend here.
Yeah.
Nothing at all until Brock shows up. Shut up. Stop. Bash your fingers. Most likely at SummerSlam to F up Gunther. What are you talking about, dude? Cold take. I'm telling you, you do. But thank you for watching. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying you're a bad person. I'm just saying your views on wrestling I don't agree with, which is fine. We're allowed to have
teach their own. To
each their own. Randy Orton. People saying Randy Orton got screwed with his shoulders up. Love that finish. I thought this was the match of the show, by the way, too. Gunther is such a well-paced performer. They kept emphasizing this. He's a guy. Everyone talks about this wrestler, that wrestler has these moves. This guy has that moves. You know, like he does all of these little things so well.
Oh, yeah.
So well, and has a presence and knows when to jaw jack to the crowd. And so it's very similar in comparison to Randy Orton, who's explosive but very methodical. And Randy Orton right now, he's not as fast as he used to be, but you can tell he's definitely wrestling a different game since this post-back surgery thing. And they kept playing on it. Like he can go, but he's not going to be the same wrestler anymore.
Right.
And they kept emphasizing that on the knee was getting to him. The back was getting to him. And like they were playing, I was like, Gunther was attacking the knee and the back. And it was interesting not to work on one body part, but several. It's different.
Both at the same time.
Yeah. He chopped the knee. I was like, oh my God, he chopped literally into the back of your knee. Yeah. And of course, he got hit with an RKO and got rolled. Randy Orton got rolled over out of that because it was so hard for him with the knee to plant his leg to do the finish, to hook the leg. So then he got hooked over, doing kind of like he didn't have all the energy to pin him. So very technical. But then Randy Orton got the shoulder up. So Triple H already saying on the post show that there'll be some debate about that finish. But Gunther was crowned the champion, and he will get a shot at the World Heavyweight title. Confirmed for Clash at the Castle, which comes up before SummerSlam in Glasgow, Scotland. It'll be Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. What do you think is scenario? Yes. Some people saying there's a problem with Gunther. You're just setting him up to fail. You're just setting him up to fail.
I don't think so. I mean, I don't know if he's going to win at SummerSlam, but I see this being a storyline. He isn't even
in the match, and he's already set up to fail.
Right. I don't get it.
He beat Randy Orton,
one of the best,
and he's set up to fail.
I think they made Gunther look strong here. You know, I think this was a big moment for him, and it's going to continue to build.
He had the best match of the show. He beat a legend. You're forgetting on commentary. They said that Sami Zayn beating him was a fluke. Like they said that Sami Zayn. Listen, not to take away from Sami Zayn, but that was a fluke. They wanted to remind you that this is the guy who's had the title for a long, long time. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And people saying Nia Jax, Queen of the Ring, Queen's Jax. Yes.
Queen's Jax.
Yes.
No, I'm with you on the whole Gunther thing, though. I mean, the guy's dominant. I don't see how he's looking weak at all right now. And even if he does lose to Cody Rhodes once, I think there's still a storyline after that. And it's going to progress. Gunther's going to be just fine. All right? He's going to be just fine.
Yes. Pierre Pauli saying, all hail King Gunther. King General Gunther. Yes, you have to get all of them there. Watch out. How you doing, buddy? Back to Pierre, though. He says, I am happy Liv Morgan is the women's world champion. I can't wait to see her tonight. So women's tag team match, strong showing, quick.
Yeah.
Not certainly not the best match in the show, but fun, simple stuff.
Appreciate
After that, I'm sorry to glance over it, but trying to focus on the big notes here. Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. This one's been built to for a while. Rhea Ripley injured. They keep bringing up Ripley so much on commentary, keeping her name in the conversation. WWE's been doing a good job of that with people that are injured, keeping them in the conversation, right?
Yeah.
And so they do Becky Lynch defending the Women's World Championship against Liv Morgan. And they've been hinting at Liv saying she wants to take everything from Rhea Ripley while she's injured. And that includes her relationships with the Judgment Day. Mm-hmm. And she's been kind of requesting their assistance. And Dominic is at ringside, and Dominic seems reluctant, but he's there. Why is he there? He tries to throw a ring in. He throws a chair, slides it into the middle of the ring with one arm. And Becky Lynch says, I don't want this. And then she gets DDT'd on the chair.
Yeah. It looked like Dom was helping.
She kind of looked foolish. She kind of looked like she got fooled, you know?
Yeah.
And Dom was like, no, I didn't mean to do it. But then Liv wins the title. It's more of an angle than a match, what we got to see here. And a title change for it. I wouldn't judge this as a match, but as an angle. But certainly, this is now with WWE. It's used to be big notes. You would get the reveal. Like, he would push the chair into the ring. You would know he gives it to Liv. You know he's with Liv, right? And now it's just a matter of time before he's with Liv, right? And now we kind of have to, like, push it to another scene to get another scene of whether or not he's with Liv.
Yeah, and I've seen this teased out over the internets and all over social media, all that. But the whole dominant custody match that's been teased between Liv and Rhea Ripley.
You're gonna have a ladder match.
Yeah. But
he's still gonna have the cast on his arm. He's still gonna have the cast on his arm. He's gonna have to push the ladder over with one arm. He's got to dye his hair blonde and make it all spiky, like when he was a kid.
Definitely. But no, I love the angle, and I love that you pointed out that this was more of an angle than a match. But
yes.
Congratulations to Liv Morgan. I'm happy for her. But this also brings up another interesting point. Becky Lynch still doesn't have a contract with WWE, right? And
I've heard this, and then everyone's like, "Oh, they took the title off of her. They took the title off of her, and this means that she's gonna." And then like that, like the graphics and Sports Key, we have to do it too because we have to talk about the conversation the fans are having, and I saw some people freak out about us doing, but that's what people are saying. That's what fans are saying. When I say people, I'm not saying terminology, like people within the industry. The fact of the matter is, she just wrestled in Saudi Arabia and probably got paid handsomely to do that. She wrestled on WrestleMania, probably got paid handsomely to do that. Her husband just re-signed with the company, so she will benefit from that as well, obviously. And just hold your horses. Also, maybe she's not doing stuff in wrestling. It's like rushing to a conclusion that hasn't been reached yet is like the number one thing. And I say this, like, we can talk about it and speculate and say what we think is going to happen. But then just saying this is happening is dumb. and doing things that are dumb are easy, lazy, reactionary, and just that. You can react. There's nothing wrong with having a reaction and a feeling. But having a feeling and a reaction with no consideration, contemplation, or empathy to it of both sides, all factors inside of it, is foolish.
Yeah.
And it's easier to be a fool than it is to be someone who's actually taking it out and seeing what's going on. And then there's some people that tweeze too much and pull too many hairs, True.
That's why
I'm probably on that side of the table, yeah.
That's why I brought the question up. I needed you to let the people know. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Great job. What's this comment here? If you look closely, Triple H did not want to hand Gunther the crown. No, I don't think Gunther wanted to put the crown on. He got handed the crown. He got the crowning ceremony with Triple H in the ring, which is pretty cool. But he didn't want to put the crown on. He just held it up. And some guys don't want to wear the crown. They think it looks silly. That's one thing I've heard is like, it's cool to be the king of the ring, but they don't want to wear it, Yeah. Whereas Nia Jax was like, yeah, put it on me. Let's go. She take a knee. Give me the crown. Steve here, Becky is going nowhere. People saying Dr. Evil time. Sneak that
Ozzy's good for the Dr. Evil comments each week.
Thank you, buddy. Other people saying money, 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 money. Also being asked, did she get a new contract? As far as we know, she doesn't have one. She doesn't have one currently. Her deal is coming up. There's a lot of big deals coming up in 2024 that were kind of signed in 2019, like right as the pandemic got going. Kevin Owens is one who said his contract is coming up, but he's like, I'm not going anywhere. In the same conversation, he said he's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
And there'll be some people that are in play, and certainly some people that people want to sign. So overall, thumbs up show for King of the Ring. I thought this was a good show. And quickly, I don't want to leave the main event off the table here. Cody Rhodes, Logan Paul, another performance where they use all of the goggle to hide whatever he doesn't have in the tank. But what he had in the tank was interesting. This is valiant hero, survives all of the outside the ring evil shenanigans, brass knuckles aside. Cody Rhodes. I'm Cody Rhodes, bitch. I'm gonna hit you with 3 crossroads.
Yes.
And send you packing. You're still Logan Paul. He still takes a pinfall here. But Cody Rhodes is the champ, and you got to protect the champ, make the champ look big. This felt like a bigger match than the match he had with AJ Styles.
Yeah, I really love this. And Logan Paul looked great during the whole match, but Cody Rhodes was a lot better, of course. But, you know, a lot of people still give Logan Paul some hate. I don't think you can after this match. He just competed with, I know he already had a match with Roman Reigns and he did well in that, but he's getting better and better and better. And after this match, you can not deny, if you even were before, the talent and the charisma that Logan Paul has.
Oh yeah,
And his ability to put over another star. I mean, Cody Rhodes is top dog. Don't get me wrong, but this match was great.
Yeah, and all it takes for him just to recalibrate the character is come back out with the title. He's still the United States champion.
Yeah,
come out with the title and say, "I went the distance with him. I had him beat, and he got lucky." That's all you have to do. And everyone's like, "Oh, that's just a cop out." You're just saying like, yes, because he did get beat.
Yeah,
and he did lose, and he's not better than Cody Rhodes.
Nope.
But he's a heel who has to be in a delusional sense of his character and delude himself to still think he's better than people who have beaten him, like a villain would do, because he's a villain.
That is what he is, and he played it perfectly.
I think Matthew Larkins is saying Cody versus Logan was exiting. I think you mean exciting. I'll say that. Matthew also asking, when is Roman coming back? I have no idea. And we're already like what 2 months from WrestleMania now.
Yeah,
almost. I don't think we see him. I don't think we see him until maybe the end of the year.
You thinking Survivor Series or like you talking December? Like
there's still so much you have to do with the Bloodline faction that he created and all of that. And there's more factors of him and The Rock. You haven't touched on that yet. You haven't done the rematch with him and Cody. The third one. There's a third match there.
It's happening. It's happening.
And what is that match? And what is a Bloodline Civil War like? And there's so many more things you can do to get to another big match. Let's talk about this situation here. Dave Roscoe with a comment here. Gunther versus Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight title at SummerSlam. Well, it's interesting. Let's lay out the scenarios here, David. So Gunther has the world title shot at SummerSlam because he won King of the Ring. Nia Jax will have. She's now Queen Nia. She will relinquish her crown to challenge for the championship. And so that scenario, I was on True Heel Heat like last Wednesday, and I literally said this would be too much of a repeat of win the Royal Rumble, win Elimination Chamber, get WrestleMania. You know what I mean? Like, I thought it was too much of a repeat. I was like, kind of keep it vague. Maybe it's clear that you get that title shot. But now, hey, I don't run it. I just watch it and talk about it and analyze it. I thought it was too much of a repeat, but I was like, it's not the worst thing in the world to say you win the King of the Ring, and you get a world title shot. It makes sense.
Yeah.
You beat a lot of people. You won a prize. Prizes propel you to the next level. Makes sense.
Yes.
So Gunther versus Drew. So you would have basically then Drew McIntyre defeating Damian Priest in Scotland, his home country.
Big pop.
WWE is all about those big international pops now. You saw this in France. You saw this in Puerto Rico last year. Big pops overseas, So Gunther, the Austrian Ring General, defeating the Scottish Warrior, taking on the Scottish Warrior in Europe. WWE's certainly done a lot to build up that bench of internationally based talent who have that allure that is not North American based. And this is certainly an example of that being a successful model to some degree in these selective circumstances. But if WWE is going to keep going overseas, they need talent that isn't just American or Canadian or strong Latino talent from Mexico, south border. Nothing wrong with that. You need talent that appeals to the markets you're going to go into. And also the guys that you have, like Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton and Logan Paul, Gunther. They all got huge pops. Gigantic pops in Saudi Arabia, and they get big pops in France too, like they did. So, but having Drew McIntyre win that title in Scotland is a special moment.
Very special.
So this is the foregone conclusions that's going to happen. Because when is that show? Is that like mid-June? Clash of the Castle?
I believe that is when it is. I can pull it up for you if you'd like it. Yeah. But I mean, could they do it again though? Drew already lost in front of his home crowd to Roman, right?
And he's got the business with CM Punk,
right? So I mean,
I think the match, just CM Punk cost Drew the title in Scotland. Oh boy,
that would be June 15th is when it's happening. June 15th, but I could see that going down. I could see that going down.
Steve saying Gunther versus Damian. Well, the thing is, like, Gunther versus Damian is you have heel versus heel. You know, you have heel versus heel.
True, unless they're gonna work the Damian
Drew
Priest
versus
into
Punk. My biggest issue with Gunther and making it brand specific is Gunther versus Cody. To me, feels like the money match to do before WrestleMania. Like in terms of like the biggest world title match you could give Cody.
Yeah,
as this Universal Champion, as the champion he is. World title, that's on Damian. Cody, he has the Universal Championship. I want Novus fans who are just hopping in to understand that. So champion on Raw, champion on SmackDown.
Yes.
To me, you know, also you have Bash in Berlin coming up in July. And you can just round Gunther up as a German superstar, and you want to have him in a big main event, you know? If I'm WWE, I know they said it was at SummerSlam. I know. But for Gunther, the big match for him, I think, has to be at Bash in Berlin. I mean, you can't just have. They did it. They had that with Rhea. She's the huge Australian superstar. They had Elimination Chamber in Australia. Put her in the main event, right? Mm-hmm. So my thing is like, well, what are you doing with him in Germany, in Berlin? You know,
you have to put him in the main event, and even if that means losing, I guess, to Cody at SummerSlam or whatever he's going to do, and then a rematch. Then I don't know. But we need to see Gunther.
Do you do Cody versus Gunther in Berlin?
That's what I would rather see.
But then they just want Cody to lose. You know, Cody's gonna
right.
They're just gonna boo Cody out of the building. You know, so it's a very interesting scenario of who they're gonna put up against Gunther. I think more in Berlin than maybe even SummerSlam. But also SummerSlam, he's a heel. He's not gonna stop being a heel. There's no inclination that Gunther's suddenly gonna be a valiant king of the people. No. No. This guy knows how to play handful notes and plays them very, very well. Yeah. So the problem with him being the king is, well, what do you do with it? And now how do you build up to the hype that you've created with it here? And here we go. This is a match. I think this would be good. Thank you, Thomas. Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. Ilya Dragunov, a big internet. They want to make some big stars. Ilya and Gunther had one of the best NXT matches of ever.
Yes.
If you've not seen it, it's one of the best. They had the best NXT UK match, like the single best NXT UK match, especially during the no fans time in the pandemic. If you haven't seen that, go see it.
Please.
That could be something special. So here we go. See, people saying Punk costs McIntyre Clash. We're in sync here on the weird noises today.
You know, it works sometimes. Sometimes it works out.
Sometimes. We'll talk the SummerSlam changes here to close out the show.
Cool.
But I want to talk about this. AEW.
Yes.
AEW. Big night for them. You and I have both not been able to see the whole show.
Not the whole show.
Because it was last night. I was booked. I had a live comedy show right as the show was happening. So I still have to fire that thing up on BR Live. That's my plan tonight. I won't watch Raw. I'll watch the show. Oh no, I have a concert tonight. I have to go to a concert.
Busy man.
I'm going to see LCD Sound System tonight.
Oh hell yeah!
Great band. I'm gonna dance myself clean.
As you should.
But MJF is back. He comes back in a wild scene. I think this was the big talking point coming out of AEW Double or Nothing. And the wild return, he comes back. Of course, Adam Cole is in the ring, who's not 100% yet. And the whole thing with Adam Cole, since he turned on MJF at the end of last year, was saw it coming a mile away. And he's lost a lot of momentum, and he had the injury, and he couldn't sustain the character, I think, or at least within the system that AEW had. So my issue, though, is boom, they play that great intro. All the different things they show, you're seeing the point of view of someone going into the room where all of their scarves and their pictures are. You know it's MJF, and he puts the ring on. He shows the torn picture of him and his former friend Adam Cole, former friend. Now here they are. They're gonna fight.
Love it.
He's gonna. Oh wait, no! My music hits. I'm gonna interview Adam Cole. Let me hug it up, and then now I'm gonna swiftly kick you in the balls. And then I'm going to cut a hell of a promo where he says, I don't need a New Japan. I don't need a Vince McMahon. And I don't need to be made by somebody else. MJF made MJF. So hell of a line, goes off. He now declares himself the Wolf of Wrestling, like the Wolf of Wall Street, and declares, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to swear. I'm going to say you guys, all your faves, suck donkey knees. Like that's what he said. It was the talk of the night. It was the talk of the night when you had wrestlers setting each other on fire. But people are still saying that this guy who came out and cut a promo that we haven't seen since the end of last year still stole the show. And there's been a lot of people critical of AEW. Like, it's a fun show. I like this. I like that. But it's just all over the place. I don't care about it nearly as much as I used to. So it's interesting. It's interesting to see how this plays out. But certainly positive news for AEW. They have MJF back on the fold, right?
Definitely. Having MJF back is so huge for this company. I watch AEW, but when I saw him come back in the promo that he cut, it just reeled me back in. It just reeled me back in even more. I'm more intrigued now on what's going to go on with AEW moving forward weekly. I thought, the whole angle of him coming out and doing the elbow on the devil mask, throwing it out to a fan, getting a nice souvenir there, a big time money souvenir, by the way, that's probably going to go for a bunch on eBay. But I just thought the whole thing was great, and it's going to do wonders for AEW. I don't know. Some people can argue that they've been struggling or, what this and that. People hate on AEW for different reasons, but I think
some constructive, some just blind tribal.
Right. Exactly. But MJF coming back is going to do great things for this company.
Huge star. Undeniably a guy who can move the needle any way you want him to do it. And he's over like a baby face, and you got a baby face reaction. He embraced being a baby face, right?
Yeah.
And Tony Khan post-show comments saying, well, it's great to get MJF here in AEW for the long haul, to basically acknowledge, and it's something he said too, that he wasn't going anywhere.
Yeah.
And that was a debate, he was going to be the bidding war of 2024. That's what they said. Well, that war apparently has been solved here. And he says, well, it's great to get MJF here in AEW for the long haul. It was something that coming out of World's End, obviously his future was uncertain. He was beaten up physically. True, he was dealing with some injuries there. I think after some of the things that happened with Adam Cole, mentally, it made a lot of sense for MJF to take time. And I understood that. Keep it kayfabe, Tony. Keep it kayfabe. How much?
I love that he does that. I love that.
How much did you pay? Of course, now he lost the title last time we saw him to Samoa Joe at a swervy angle where Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom, remember that faction? They presented 6 months ago that everyone forgot about already. They were there. And so I'm sorry to be dismissive, but it's the truth. I don't like writing off wrestlers. They're just not moving the needle like people would want them to. So
keeping it honest.
So we have that wild show overall. These Anarchy in the Arena matches are nuts, and this is the one I'm looking forward to watching the most because it's just it's a shit show in the best way possible in terms of things that AEW just says, let's just go for it, let's get crazy, right?
Yeah.
And there's no one who gets more crazy than Darby Allin, who used a blowtorch in the go home angle to this show. I was like, cool, blowtorch, but then brings the blowtorch out again on the show. Lit somebody up on fire. Tell me about this. Jack Perry
got lit on fire.
Jesus.
And my goodness, it looked,
who agrees to that? You're working with fire. Fire doesn't kayfabe, brother. It doesn't pull a punch.
And you saw Darby Allin. I mean, go back and watch the clip. Like, he lights him on fire, but then he keeps going. Like, he's going back for more. I'm like, okay, that's enough, brother. Like, he's on fire already. You don't need to keep coming back with the blowtorch. But Darby Allin, I mean, that guy, he took a ton of bumps during the match as well. He's got a death wish in wrestling. I'm going to tell you that because he got hit by, what was it, an Amazon truck or a delivery truck that did the whole bus angle.
This is also a Jack Perry who survived getting knocked out after crashing a bus into Darby Allin in the match.
In the match.
And then he got lit on fire.
But then he got the pinfall.
And then he pins.
It was a lot of shenanigans. It was crazy. It's a crazy match. Go check it out.
Trying to make me think that Jack Perry is the toughest son of a bitch. You're CM Punk and you can shove him, but you can't hit him with a car and you can light him on fire. But the son of Luke Perry will rise.
Yes, sir. No,
Of course,
overall,
this was the Elite versus Team AEW. Jack Perry aligning himself with the Elite of the corporate stooges, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, Kazuchika Okada, and Perry defeating the team of FTR, Darby Allin, and Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson brought back to get pinned again in a pay-per-view match. They love telling you Bryan Danielson's the best wrestler in the world. They don't like having you see Bryan Danielson beat people on pay-per-view, though. At least that's the way it feels recently.
it's crazy.
So the match, though, lived up to the ridiculousness of everything. You had thumbtacks. You want all the hardcore ridiculousness and over-the-top big production spots. Somebody got hit with a bus. Somebody got landed on fire. Somebody got to bleed. Like,
It was insane.
These Anarchy in the Arena matches, they've kind of all delivered, right?
Yes, they have. And, that's what I like about AEW pay-per-views. They usually deliver and they usually put in a match that's insane like this. But yes, specifically the Anarchy in the Arenas have all delivered in the way that they say they're going to.
Mm-hmm. Now, something interesting, another interesting note is Mercedes Moné is now the AEW TBS Women's Champion in AEW. She defeated fan favorite Willow Nightingale.
Yeah.
And during the post-show media scrum, Tony Khan revealed that they could wait to make her in-ring debut. They had her debut in March? So they had 2 months of her doing these angles, and the kind of new girl, big money star acquisition in AEW felt like it lost its luster. And then you have the fan favorite who's, holding down the roster. Maybe not a big star, obviously, is Mercedes Moné and Willow Nightingale getting bigger pops. It was a weird scenario where the crowd kind of flipped it on Mercedes Moné, probably known as Sasha Banks. But here's an interesting thing coming out. The beginning of the year, we signed a deal, made it happen. We were really talking about when was the perfect place and time for me to debut in the ring. March 13th, big business. They have her come out, Boston Garden. Tony Khan called me. I have a perfect place for you to do it. Boston, baby. And Tony, you're just speaking my language. And he said, we are celebrating AEW's 5-year anniversary here in Las Vegas. Everything, can you wait? And I said, bitch, I've been waiting for a whole year. Of course I can wait. So this is the perfect place, the grandest place to make my in-ring debut. Wait, wouldn't it have been Boston? Well, she got physical in Boston.
Well,
she ran out and did something. What?
Did she respond to Tony Khan with a bitch?
I think this is Tony Khan saying it.
Okay.
This is Tony. This is Tony. I'm reading a quote here. I'm reading a quote.
That is so funny if that's how they talk to each other.
And I said, Key and Peele. And I said,
hold on.
I said, bitch.
Wait. You said that though?
Wait. And I said, bitch. I'm being silly here.
Me too.
Okay. All right. So while that's going on, they have a solid match. There's shenanigans. She wins.
Yeah.
And I'm taking nothing away from Willow Nightingale. I'm taking nothing away from Mercedes Moné. That was okay.
It's okay. It did what they wanted to do. They put the title on Mercedes Moné. They're paying her a bunch of money.
I know.
She got some heat, but it wasn't.
But even with Tony Khan's just gonna tell you everything's the best, right? He's gonna, and he has to do that. That's his job. He's a wrestling promoter. He has to say that his guys are the best.
Yeah,
and they're dealing the best with the situation they got, right?
Yeah, it wasn't.
They waited. I think they waited just a little bit too long for her to be in the ring.
I agree.
They wanted to have the big debut and then have the big debut on pay-per-view, which makes sense. We're here in AEW. We're gonna use Mercedes Moné to sell this show. But
maybe wait to bring her out initially, though. If you're gonna if this is gonna be your first match, Double or Nothing, like wait to bring her out. I don't know.
No, I don't know. It's just there's just some level of execution that just doesn't seem like Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks. It doesn't feel like the star she was when she came into this company.
I agree.
And I don't know if that's her fault. I think that's how things have been framed around her. And they try to have her be a baby face. I would have her come out and be like, blah, 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 AEW, rah, 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 rah. By the way, all these girls suck. And just like have her get the heel heat right away. Have it be like, hey, I'm happy to be here. But by the way, bam, 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 fire shots, and like that's my one critique of it. She just doesn't feel as big of a star. Other big news. This is somewhat interesting. I wouldn't say this is the biggest news, but big news in terms of the world's strongest man. Mark Henry, who's been a producer and signed with AEW 4 years ago. Was it 4 years ago?
Yes.
He publicly stated on Sirius XM radio, busted open. Welcome. Shout out. Love the show. Listen to it often. He goes, my contract with AEW is set to expire tomorrow, the 28th. And today, of course, is the 27th. I wanted to address the matter. And Tony Khan said at the press conference that he was very happy and proud of what we did together. I feel exactly the same way. I appreciate everything that happened in AEW with Tony Khan and the Khan family. I had a great experience. I do feel like it's time for me to take time to handle the markhenry.com and the remarkable brand and focus attention on my next steps. I'm not going to be renewing my deal. I am not going to be renewing my deal. Henry noted his exit was a mutual. This isn't like a nasty decision,
Yeah. Mutual respect there.
He signed with them in 2021. Never wrestled a match. They used him a handful of times on commentary, and he was used as a talent scout as well.
Yes.
So
main event Mark Henry.
He said he's still going to be available to people on the roster if they need attention, and he is. But this is clear: he has no intentions of leaving the wrestling business.
What does that mean? WWE.
But also, like, does he want to wrestle again? This is a guy who's had a lot of injuries. He claimed he had to have some. I think he had to. This is me listening to Sirius XM. I don't want to misquote him either. He mentioned I was getting in the ring, trying some stuff. Shoulder got messed up. It's a big man with a big injury. Those take a long, long time to heal.
Definitely.
But he's a guy who's very passionate. A very proud man. Mark Henry is
definitely,
and I don't think he wants to do anything if he doesn't think he can do it. So it'll be interesting to see what he does. Also, I think he can make a big splash, doing some big things on the independent circuit, coming out there, cutting a big angle, beating some big people up, being a different attraction in that regard, and that could be interesting. See how that plays out. So for Mark Henry, interesting though, but also it's a shakeup with AEW. They've been doing a lot of these. They've been doing a lot. There's been some people who've been with them since the beginning that maybe are, I don't want to be phased out is the term, but there's been some different stuff there. What do you think, man?
I'm intrigued. I want to see where this goes. I've seen people talking about bring him back to WWE. That's where he belongs. All this, it's the fans side of things, but I agree with you. I think that he could do some big things on the indie circuit, and I would love if he came out to California and wrestled a match out here in the indie circuit. I would go to see that definitely, but I think he's got something in mind. He's leaving AEW. They're on good terms, but I think there's something that he has planned here that is already in the works going forward, and I can't wait to see what happens.
Here we go. Steve, sir, any news on Britt Baker? AEW needs her return. Well, they got an MJF return, but they do need a Britt Baker return. We have not seen her wrestle for a very long time, significantly, months.
Been a while.
It was a huge name for them for such a long time. Britt Baker and Mercedes Moné would certainly be an interesting match. Two big stars, two big names, very braggadocious. You could do some real things there. And who knows? Who knows? If I'm Britt Baker and my contract's coming up, maybe there's injury time. It gets rolled over. It's happened to other people. It's going to happen here. Of course, Gangrel made an entrance last night and helped Edge be victorious over Malachi Black in the spooky versus spooky match. You want to be spooky with me? I'll be spooky with you. And Malachi Black had a blood drop on him that alluded to Gangrel showing up. Gangrel, the vampire leader who once was the leader and mentor of Edge early in his career. Yeah. Since AEW loves to tell you that they watch other people's wrestling shows and bring them in as angles. Nothing wrong with it. It was fun. It's good fan service stuff. It felt like that. I mean that in the right way. It felt like if I had time on our show, we don't have enough time. I would get into the entire match by match breakdown, but I thought it was a fun angle. I got to see clips of it. I enjoyed it.
I love the moment just because I just saw Gangrel wrestle out here in Sacramento less than a few years ago, within the last few years. And yeah, it was just a moment to see him show up there, do his thing. I was like, yeah, that's awesome. I have a picture with Gangrel from that. It was just a cool moment, personal moment. So
Cheryl Stout. Cheryl, I got to talk about this.
Go ahead.
Cheryl saying Corey Graves is cleared to wrestle now. I've heard this. Nick, you have a spare tab open there.
Yeah.
Give me a once over on Corey Graves' socials. I've been hearing this from a few people in the last 24 hours, but I haven't heard anything from Corey himself. And I think that's the real thing there. That'd be interesting. Corey Graves has been on commentary for WWE for years now. He has never wrestled on the main roster. He was a part of the WWE NXT Black and Gold times, but suffered unfortunately debilitating concussions, which forced him to take on a broadcaster role. And he's been in a broadcaster role, for 8-9 years now. And he's been a part of the WWE system. He's been on Raw, SmackDown, major pay-per-views. He's the Bobby Heenan of WWE, and he's taken on a good role. He's alluded to trying to go through the same process that Daniel Bryan did to get cleared from severe concussion syndromes, and trying to, which is not a specific science. There's no specific science coming back from concussions, and some people simply do not come back from them, and that's because of what we now know more about the risks that come with them. And so I'll just leave it at that. I don't know anything about it to go beyond it. Certainly be interesting, but you have a guy who's people have known on television for years and years, but has never wrestled a match, and obviously knows how to wrestle.
Yeah, I mean,
there's something there. He would be in like that Pat McAfee, Logan Paul category for a lot of casual fans.
It's interesting that you bring up Logan Paul, because during that match, Logan Paul and Michael Cole had a little moment, but Corey Graves stood up, stepped in between the two of them. I don't know. Corey Graves didn't say anything specifically on his own account. He didn't.
But that's a tease.
But it's a tease. It's right there.
We
all saw it. Maybe his comeback match is against Logan Paul. Who knows?
Wow. Yeah. Wouldn't that be something?
It'd be crazy.
Wouldn't that be something? I've heard more people tell me about this.
Yep.
Yeah. Shout out John Woo over in Hong Kong. Keep it up with the videos. Thank you so much. And we just dropped a whole bunch of good stuff. Thank you to the more than 50,000 people, by the way, that watched our Jacob Fatu video. I was expecting it to do well, but not do 50,000. We did 100,000, I think, last time I checked. That's really good. You had a bunch of shorts that are popping off for us as well. So it's been a very, very fun time to see things happen in the long form video side of things. I know we do these live videos, and maybe some people don't watch them nearly as much. But to the handful of you that are watching, go check out the main channel. We just dropped a bunch of big ones on the channel. I'm looking at it right now. We just did one about what WWE agents do. That just premiered today. This is a one I spent a long, long time working on. A career retrospective, and how the Usos overcame a lot to become maybe the greatest tag team of all time. You just did why Adam Cole's AEW run has been failure so far.
Yeah,
it's a failure that sold out a stadium. A failure that sold out a stadium. Gotta love when our boys want to do they want to bait. They want to bait and hook with those headlines.
Right. Just to be clear, we do give Adam Cole his props. I just want to say that, okay? My goodness.
Don't worry, there'll be an argument about that.
Yeah.
But literally, there's just like right now, I'm looking at over an hour of just quality, great stuff that our team has put together that you guys can watch as well. Wonderful stuff. Go watch that. It's up on the Sports Key to Wrestling YouTube channel. Let's get into this before we close the show.
Yes,
this news confirmed by WWE earlier this week. Obviously, they know what they're doing, and they are key at making these events, these big quarterlies now be billed on. It's something they promote with the local markets they're in. And Minnesota Sports and Events, that's basically the public outreach of the government to bring major sports and entertainment events to Minnesota, is partnering with them and probably spending tens of millions of dollars to bring SummerSlam to the U.S. Bank Stadium. That's a home of the Minnesota Vikings, the NFL. Now, Minneapolis, Minnesota was, for a long time, the front runner for WrestleMania next year, to the point where a state legislature was bragging about doing tax revenue breaks for a major event. And they've long been very braggadocious about trying to get WWE there for a massive event. And then it goes to Las Vegas for 2 nights. So now we're getting SummerSlam there in 2026. So it's not the 2025 one, by the way.
Not next year.
It's interesting.
Very interesting.
What do you think of the timing of that? It struck me as, hey, you're mad we didn't give you WrestleMania, but let's get one on the books with you now. Let's get a major one on the books with you. And a 2-night SummerSlam, by the way.
2 nights. Yeah, I'm very intrigued to see where they go with this, because I know SummerSlam is one of the biggest pay-per-views, PLEs for WWE throughout the year. But 2 nights, I mean, are we going to see this moving forward with Survivor Series, the other big PLEs? We have 2 nights with WrestleMania.
2 nights of Royal Rumble.
2 nights. Are we going to get 2 nights of Royal Rumble? So this is very interesting to me moving forward. When I first saw it, I was like, whoa. I mean, that's great for Minneapolis. Don't get me wrong.
But with streaming, it makes sense.
Yes, it does. It does.
Like for everyone who's like, oh, well, it doesn't make sense. Why would you do? Because it's more watch time.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
and watch time on a streaming service is a critical thing that makes you stay with a streaming service that you subscribe to. The churn rate is the big thing that a lot of the streamers are concerned about, and they should be. You get I watched the Get Out of Wrestling. You've ever watched the show The Jinx, the true crime show? It's on HBO Max, right?
I have not watched that.
They did it like there's a season of it from like 10 years ago. They just did like a follow-up season on it. And I know people that love true crime, and they were really into the Netflix true crime shows. But then I got to get Max because I want to watch the new season of that show, right? Yeah. So they got it. They watched the whole thing, and they dropped it. Now, that's a whole season of a show. If you're just watching WWE for the premium shows, and you give me 2 pay-per-views, and I'm not going to watch it all in one night, but I watch over 2 nights, and then you're telling me in a month there's going to be another one, I guess I'm going to stick around for another month, right?
Yeah. Smart.
So the weekends really make you really push that. You know what I mean?
Very true. You got a great point there.
So I think that's a big reason why these are happening into 2 nights. Another thing is to factor in is we saw the news a week ago is that WWE was considering. I gotta get out of here about 5 minutes.
Yeah, for sure.
WWE is being pitched in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, where they have a very, very lucrative agreement, reportedly $50 million a show to be out there. Wow. And that agreement is going to be extended and expanded. And the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia's entertainment executives have been so open as to saying they want a WrestleMania and they want a Royal Rumble. Now, my issue with that is there's still all of those socio-political issues. Saudi Arabia, to some people, is not a destination for a major show like that. I'm not saying that's to me or any fan, but to some fans it is. So maybe it isn't the attraction that it would be. Now, for people in the Middle East, wow, WWE's in Riyadh, I want to go there. You know, WWE's in Jeddah. If I'm in Yemen, if I'm in different parts of the area, I want to go there. If I'm in Saudi Arabia, if I'm in Riyadh, I want to go to Jeddah, right? So it's kind of like, I get it if you're a fan in that area, but for some fans, there's still that, do I want to go there? You know, whereas you say WWE to a fan that's like me in the Midwest, and I've been watching WWE for a long time, it's in Las Vegas. I just want you got me.
I'm there.
This is a selling point, right?
Yeah.
So WWE has this balance where you're going overseas, you're getting these great reactions, you're selling out those houses, but you're doing different things to get there, and the partnership of the cities is making it more lucrative for you to go there. Minnesota is doing that. You know, obviously Las Vegas spent reportedly $5 million just to get the bid. And then that isn't before tax breaks. That isn't before tax revenue. That isn't before other structural things that will be put in place once WrestleMania goes to Las Vegas. What are they doing in Saudi Arabia every time they set up a show? They're spending $50 million. You know what I mean? There's a lot of logistics and extra costs that come into place here. But another logistic is, well, if we're going to be going overseas, how do we maintain these relationships domestically with major premium live events? Not your Raws, your SmackDowns, those big destination events. If they're going and they're talking about Saudi Arabia and Royal Rumbles and different things like that, right?
Yeah.
I'm of the thought that 2025, we're going to see a WrestleMania that's not in the United States.
Which is going to be crazy to a lot of people, but get ready for it.
I'm not saying it's going to Saudi. I'm not saying it's going to Saudi. London is still very much on the table.
I mean, and look at these crowds. I mean, USA, if you wanted to stay in the USA, step it up. I know that we get a lot of big pops over here. We're big time fans. Yes,
we're jaded and spoiled. Yeah, we're spoiled.
We're spoiled, and that's the biggest part of it.
Leave it to Americans to get fat.
But you see these crowd pops over in France when they just went over there. I mean, imagine a WrestleMania overseas with that crowd. It's gonna go crazy. And then people are gonna travel from the US over there. That we have some diehards that want to go over to Europe across the pond and watch a wrestling event, and that might be the time to do it. Is a WrestleMania.
Great comment here from Tommy. Want to hop on that one?
Yeah, Thomas Vanderweed says Big 4 pay-per-view should stay in USA, like Nick Khan says a while back. Kevin, how you feeling about it?
Well, I mean, you already got Money in the Bank. It's going to be in Toronto. You know, it doesn't feel like it's far away. I don't think it's. You still have to have a passport to go. I'm trying to figure out my Money in the Bank plan.
I would like to go there too.
It's gonna be hard for me to do SummerSlam. It's the same weekend as Lollapalooza. I'm in the studios at Q101, the alternative rock radio station. We got Blink-182 and the Killers there, guys. It's gonna be hard for me to pull this off. And it's only one night this year, too. By the way, it's not 2 nights.
Right. That's
interesting. It's interesting how WWE balances. You're kind of you made a good problem for yourself. You know what I mean? You're like, it's 2026. We don't know where SummerSlam is going to be in 2025, right? Am I correct? They haven't announced that.
I haven't heard anything from that.
But I've heard, Nick Khan was alluding to that. No, the Big 4 are going to stay here in the United States. But then you have Saudi Arabia, one of your biggest partners, saying, we want a Royal Rumble and we want a WrestleMania. And we're going to say it publicly. Now, are they going to get the greatest Royal Rumble that they got like 5 or 6 years ago, which was a Royal Rumble, but not the Royal Rumble? Like, can you do a second Royal Rumble every year? And they were trying to pitch these. Remember that when these started, like, this is the thing that kind of put a bad taste in people's mouths. Crown Jewel, an event on the caliber of WrestleMania. And like, this is not the Royal Rumble, but it's the greatest Royal Rumble. I would just try and create something new and exciting. I think King and Queen of the Ring is fun to do there. And have them be finals. And I also think the crowd in Saudi Arabia, especially in Europe, they respond to sports-based payoffs, like sports-focused payoffs, and making those things feel special, But maybe that's just me here in the States saying, no, I don't want the WrestleMania to go to this place. But also in Europe, you can't deny it. That's a hot market.
It is hot over there.
If they brought a Royal Rumble to Saudi Arabia, I think people would be less mad if they brought a WrestleMania to Saudi Arabia.
I 100% agree with that.
And I'm not saying to fans in Saudi Arabia you don't deserve those things. No, I'm saying there's going to be a vocal crowd that doesn't want that to happen.
There will be, and I still think I don't know. I'm not in the works. I'm not in the board meetings with WWE, but I don't think that WWE necessarily wants to put a WrestleMania on Saudi Arabia yet. Mm-hmm. And how do you tell your partner who pays you this much money? Like, if you want to keep it smaller, how do you tell them, hey, we're not going to give you a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania. We've been doing really well with these King of the Rings and
Hey, Marks, bet you love that flamethrower bullshit. Like, that's the message I was getting.
Lou, I got something to say to you. You've been calling us Marks all episode. I am a fan. I don't care.
His name is Nick. My name is Kevin. Our names are not Marks.
Right.
No, Lou, have fun.
I'll love.
Have fun. Just yes. I wanted to get out of here. I gotta get out. I gotta jump onto another microphone here. I'm looking at the track here. The Wyatt 6 stuff. We didn't get a Wyatt 6 reveal. WWE's putting a lot of internet resources into this. There's Rob Fee is the long-term storytelling focused guy. He was heavily focused on Bray Wyatt's return to WWE, the QR codes, the lore they've created online with this character. The diehards are getting a lot of time spent on this. If I had the free time, I would go looking down these wormholes as well, but I enjoy the recap videos. There's a lot of great creators in the wrestling space that have been covering this and breaking it down for us. I did watch the Twitch video they did on Thursday that alluded to some of these things. It kind of lines up with some dates, though, beyond Crown Jewel. So before Crown Jewel, they kind of, if you look at the clues and they break down a certain way, it didn't tell you like you were getting. It just kind of told you maybe you're going to get another clue. So there's nothing definitive about it, too, by the way. They never say, like, I want to see you, but you saw this hand kind of write these letters to these 6 different Wyatt 6 people that allude to some of their narratives and reasonings as to why they're an outcast or they've been left behind or not appreciated as much as they should be. And now it's all about, once you reveal it's got to pay up to the hype, you know?
Right.
Like when Bray came back and they did that big production, it paid up to the hype. Like you have to have the spectacle, and they're giving you enough of the reasoning behind this. And WWE's acknowledging the QR codes and stuff like that. They're not saying they didn't happen. This isn't like the first time where they just did it and didn't say anything about it. So like, whoa, what was that? This is like, no, there was another QR code. Show me a spooky video. Like they're kind of more open about it, you know. And all of them go to WWE URLs. Like it goes to a WWE.com. It's on WWE's Twitch. So it's a little bit more. It's not as covert, you know, and so, but you also now have to live up to the hype of it, you know, and you're going to do it now as a tribute angle to Bray, and you're going to have his brother pass it on, which I think, like spiritually, familial, like family connection, makes sense.
It does.
But it's really hard to portray this character.
I would agree with you 100% here, and
you know,
I do.
Bo Dallas, his brother, is going to be Uncle Howdy. That's kind of what we're being told here, but that could all be different too. He can come out and just say, I'm Bo Dallas. I'm not Bray Wyatt, you know, or like, so it's going to be interesting to see how they play this out.
When do you think this is going to get revealed? Do you think they could do something on Monday night tonight?
I think we get something on Monday night, and some people say they got to do it on TV, but I say you got to do it. You got to do it on a pay-per-view.
So next PLE maybe, or do you think
maybe?
Okay.
But hey, maybe they can do it on TV. Who knows? You know, so all right, I gotta bounce. Everybody.
Let's get you out of here. All right,
you can follow him on the things, follow me on the things, and remember, when watching wrestling, please do the most important part, which is what?
Enjoy wrestling.